When we met EM Duggan last week, we heard from Executive Vice President Len Monfreido about his philosophy to take care of people so they will take care of you. His humility was clear as he focused to improve an already great culture, taking little credit for where the firm stands today. Breaking bread to build relationships, information sharing, and better communication are all engagement strategies paying high dividends. Quite simply, people take pride in being excellent and sharing the excellence. Both Vince and Len proudly spoke about multi-generational families working for the firm. Now, we finish our time with Len, and before we close, we will hear from yet another person who had no intention of working for a construction company. Here we go. Pretty intentional about using man/woman.
Yeah.
Tell me a little more.
Well, I mean, the construction industry, obviously, it's hard to have diversified, not just women, also minorities. Yeah. But we work really hard at that, and we're proud of that. We work with a company called Building Pathways up here, which focuses in on bringing in minorities into the trades.
So you've earned this recognition as being a top company to work for up in that area. Who decided to go after that? And
so we started testing the water years ago with Boston Business Journal. And then when we brought Laura and George on, it was kind of more, it was easier for me to say, Laura, we should try to go after this one. We should try to go after that one. And it's a lot of work. So at first I would do it, but then when Laura came on board, she thankfully took over it. But at the end of the day, you still got to make sure that people are going to want to do those surveys and answer those surveys honestly. So, we're definitely lucky that it's worked out in our favor, so to speak.
Well, again, I don't buy off on it being lucky at all. To get people to respond at the rate they're supposed to respond and to, achieve the level of score that you need to achieve is certainly not luck. But clearly, when you look at the data, particularly early on, you probably learned of some deficiencies. What are some of the things you learned going through this process?
We needed to better communicate. We needed definitely to listen to people. We needed more open communication and collaboration. A lot of people wanted to hear. A lot of people wanted to be educated more. They wanted to learn more about their trades. They wanted to know that we were willing to assist them, and if they wanted to take classes online, which we've done over time. And they wanted accountability. So they wanted more accountability of things and of changing things. And it's funny because it can take you in all these different directions, right? And over the years, have we gone, too far in some places? I don't know. We might have. But at the end of the day, our people are really happy. And yeah, we're doing things today that we never probably wouldn't even considered 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I think you have to do that given the new work environment and also given all the new men and women coming into the business, the younger generation, their expectations are a lot different from like mine and yours. Like we have a game room, we have a gym, we have I didn't expect that. I was basically saying, get to work, get out there and get dirty. It's like.
Yeah, I think I was 13 years old when I was working on some union jobs in New York City as a helper. So totally. I think I learned to go speak Spanish because I was going out in the Bronx to get the buttered bagels in the morning.
Right, you had to be the runner.
No, wait a second. A game room? Yes. Tell me more.
So we have next door at 142 Will Drive is where our HVAC prefab shop is. We put in a full gym that we actually paid for from recycling metals. So it's got a yoga room, it's got a full weight room, it's got 2 pedaltons, it's got bikes, ellipticals, everything you can think about. So everything you need is in that gym. And then above it is our learning center that we do a lot of training. And then there's a game room with like a kegerator, that there's bubble hockey, pool table, TV, and there's foosball. So before COVID on a Thursday night, a lot of the younger staff would go in and do that and enjoy themselves, which once again, you're creating a team environment. And those relationships mean more, I think, than anything else in terms of, because if you work together as a team, you're going to be doing better as a company. That's for sure.
Yeah, I when I talk about it, I say this isn't about foosball and jelly beans in the break room. It's what that creates you know, when you have these guys the other day where they have their farm to table organic kitchen, you know, anything within 60 miles, you know, and they're feeding them breakfast and lunch, and
Love
oh
that.
my God, that's a cost. No, our people are together and building relationships.
And we did the same thing. So we had a local company, Courtney, actually, she did we used to bring organic food in until COVID, unfortunately, but she would bring all these local organic foods in, and we would pay for it. And at first, when I first did it, Vin's like, whatever. I'm like, Vin, don't worry about the money. The money will get paid for in the productivity and the efficiencies and those collaborations and the magic that happens when people are working together and breaking bread together.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, you know, being an accountant like Vin is, it's hard to actually look in the black and white of that. So what you have to wait for is at the end of the year, the profitability, right? Mm-hmm. So I always look at it, he looked at it differently than I always look at it as profit per employee. Mm-hmm. So how much profit are you making per employee as an organization? And if you looked at what we do revenue-wise, according to our top competitor, he's got almost double the amount of people that we have. And, you know, he's got 700 people doing like $40 million more than us. So what do you think is going on? We're much more efficient because we're doing all these things that they're not doing, you know, and it's hard to quantify that, right? You need time and data. So now we have the data over the last, you know, 7 years. So I don't get any crap for things I want to do.
Yeah, winning helps your reputation for sure. So tell me a little bit about the training side, so how you ramp that up.
So what we do is, we do a lot of safety training. We try to do that on a quarterly basis. We actually bring vendors in to do training at the Learning Center. The Learning Center holds, I think, about 100 people. Nice. It's got 2 big TVs, a podium in the middle. It's got its own kitchenette. We allow for people to do training or classes online, which we will pay for up to the IRS allows us to. I think it's like $5,500 a year. So, you know, we send people on seminars. We send, you know, anyone who wants to go on an industry seminar or an industry learning thing, we will do and pay for. Our safety group, a lot of people have done that. Peer groups, like software peer groups, if someone comes to us and say, I think this would be beneficial to us or the group, we'll do it. You know, we think that training and education, and especially when you're working with user groups, when you hear other people that's all very, very positive information that you know, that it's only going to help your organization, you know. So
you say to Laura, hey, I got a great idea. Let's look at this top place to work designation. When you get it, what was the feeling, the reaction from the rank and file?
Oh, you know, I mean, at first people were like, oh, a survey, you know, everyone hate, but we try to make it easy for people. We're like, listen, if you can't do it at home, fill it out during work. Take 5 minutes to, you know, tell your foreman that, you know, we want you to do this, and we want you to answer it openly and honestly. And we want you to know that we're working with the company after the results, and we're going to make changes based upon what your feedback is. So this isn't just about getting in and winning something. It's about listening to you, and we're going to make some changes, which we have. And if we didn't have that feedback from those surveys, we might not have thought to, right? So that was one of the big things that we would tell people. And I think after the fact, people get excited about being included in, you know, in that top 10, top whatever of best places to work. And they take pride in that because they obviously take pride in their work and where they work. So
you haven't gotten to the place where you take it for granted yet?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I never take it for granted. And I get worried because it gets, as you give more, it's harder, you know, it's harder because the expectations go up. It's human nature. Yep. Right? So what I get concerned at is, you know, what else we need to do to make sure people are happy to, you know, to keep things going. And I think right now, given the reset button that we just got, I think, you know, there's people that right now would be making more money staying at home with unemployment. Yeah. They want to come back to work. And that in itself says a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay. So to me, I'm looking at that and being like, wow, we still are doing a great thing for these people where they want to come back to work regardless about money.
Well, and you said earlier, when you share the information, they're able to make an intelligent decision. And look, I'd love to be able to give you this, but I can't because, or I can't, but you need to do this kind of a thing. Go back to communication. You said early on you learned that, quote, communication had to get better. What did you do differently on the front?
So the biggest thing was our use of technology. The communication really helped with technology, right? So the iPads, the iPhones, all these, the laptops, all that helped everyone communicate almost seamlessly overnight. And we became a company that used to literally have to wait to get information in physical paper form to a company that you texted or you emailed or you overnight.
You know, people hear communication. I want to make sure that they hear this correctly. It's not just about you and I'll be able to text. It's about a software to be able to exchange plans, or an iPad device so I can go do safety audits. It's that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Oh, and we went as far about, Jeff's been with us now 5 years, I think, almost 5 years. So I went as far as literally putting in a group that focuses in on innovation technologies just to increase our efficiencies on communication and how fast and how well we communicate across all our people in the organization.
So what's on your things to do list then?
Exactly that. Get done. So our service group is now moving on to Sage. All of our project managers, coordinators are moving on to Procore. So we're all going to be unified. All divisions are going to be using the same things, same software, where we used to have our little silos and this group was using this software and that group was using this. No.
What's on your horizon then?
So, before COVID, it was, expanding into other states, prefabbing for other companies. Right now, long-term, we just want to see what's going to happen short-term in the construction industry, and then plan long-term, more prefab, more things that we could potentially be doing towards selling to other people outside of our market. I'm working on some patents for things within our organization, on items that would help the construction industry, in particular things that we do. So hopefully those will be coming out soon, and that'll create some other revenue streams. But it's hard right now, to see what's going to happen. But we'll plan for things, and we have big plans. But the unfortunate reality is the construction industry is going to be hurt for a while from this.
The values of the organization, at what point do those get codified, and how do you communicate?
So I did that. They've always been there, known, but not like kind of spoken. But I just put them down in writing. It's basically just like a moral compass that was always kind of lived by and understood, but never was really codified and put down in writing. And I just did it. I felt so strongly that we needed to do that and put it in writing and share it with everyone, get their input and see if we were missing anything. And we did that years ago. And we send it out every year, just as a reminder. When you walk into every one of our facilities, it's the first thing that you see on the wall. Basically, our moral compass, our core values, and what we hold true in this company. And it was compiled by not just us and the execs, it was compiled by everybody, And,
so you just kind of get everybody's input, or
we came up with what we thought the company's culture lives and breathes on, and then asked input. And it was pretty much amazing to see that all the things that we had thought were how we operate were, and then people just only added better things, And I think the biggest thing that we have going for us, besides our people, is the integrity of our people. So the most important thing, that one of the big core values for us is we're people of our word, right? So we're gonna give, if we give you our word on something, we're gonna live by it, even if it winds up costing us money. Yeah. Even if we wind up screwing up, we got to do it again. Because at the end of the day, what we give you as an owner, as a product, that means more to us long term than money. Because we're not trying to make money off you short term. We want to have a relationship with you and your building over the course of its life cycle. I say this a million times, but I truly mean it. Our people are our greatest asset, because I would like to do my job, and I feel I'm just a steward. I want to get it to the next generation, and the only way to do that is with the people, right? So this company has more generational people working for it than any other company that I've ever worked with. And we have third, fourth generation people working for us. So that says a lot. when someone's son wants to come and work for you, your daughter wants to come from work, your cousin, you know, and if you look across our staff, that's what it is. And you know, we have so many career staffs, so many people that spend their entire career here. I think that says a lot about an organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my biggest feat and my biggest task is to continue that.
I could listen to Len talk all day, and I can assure you there's plenty of great content on the cutting room floor. But before we close, let's hear from Lauren Carrizio, Director of Marketing, another person who had no intention of working for EM Duggan. I asked her about the return to work post-COVID.
Just we're getting back, you know, people are back at the job sites, so we're slowly starting to rev back up, and people are coming back in, and we're leaving it up to people however they feel comfortable.
What was so great about it that made you come over and be a full-timer?
So I was a consultant. One of my editors that I worked with in TV said, I'm doing this project. I need a producer reporter on. I said, okay. And when I walked into the office and I met Len, it was like love at first sight. And he's just an incredibly nice man. Vin Petroni's incredibly nice. And it was one of those things that you just know, you're like, oh, I don't want to just work with these people. I want them to be in my life and be my friends.
Okay.
So yeah, so we started working and I started doing all these videos, and they were turning 125 years old. And he said, do you do documentaries? I'm like, yeah, I do. I actually did them in Boston. I did some national ones. He's like, we want to do a documentary. So we went for a year. We interviewed like 80 people for the documentary. And when it was over, we sat down for a viewing, and they were all like, had tears in their eyes, and they were clapping. And I was like, looked, I guess, really sad. And Len's like, why do you look so sad? I'm so happy. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, now my time is done with you. I'm like, it wasn't about like the money. It wasn't about anything. I just love everything about this place, the way that people are treated, who you are as a person, what the company stands for. And he goes, oh no, I have a ton of things for you to do. He goes, you have a PR firm, don't you? I need you to do PR. I need you to do marketing. I need you to do this. And I was like, okay. And then like 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years, I came on full time, I believe. One day haphazardly, he goes, when are we making this permanent? I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was even an option. He said, I didn't think you'd give up your company. And I'm like, I think you're the only man in the world I'd give up my company for, because you're that, he's just that nice. I mean, you met him, and Vin's so nice. And it just, I believe it starts from the top. And when you have leaders that really do truly care about people, I mean, he one time said something to me, like I was talking about something and I do the marketing. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of expensive. And he goes, you know what? We're very blessed. We're a company that has some money. What good is it if we can't get back to our employees? And I was just like, wow, you don't hear that from an owner of a company or leaders. Usually it's like they get more in their bonus. And he really truly believes you give back to your employees. The people that took over, the fourth and fifth generation, are equally as good and kind. And it makes a difference. I mean, the culture here is just so different from anywhere I've ever worked.
Well, and you talked about with COVID and the return to work protocols, and when people want to return to work, you know, the protocols are nice.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I mean, you got to have them, but you know, people are not finding a reason to not come to work. They're trying to find a reason to come to work because they do appreciate the environment.
Yeah, I think everyone missed each other. A lot of times on the job sites, we go out to all of them. Now with COVID, we might have to alter that a little bit, but we would have a lot of things happening at what I call our headquarters. And we'd have different food vendors come in. We'd have different parties. And I said to Len, like one day, I said, you know, he goes out to the job sites and he's like, we should do more. So we would go to the job sites and we would bring luncheons in, and we would have raffles, and we'd give out gift cards. And I remember one day Len went to go tour the site, and I said, let me wait because the food's coming. And I'm putting out the food, and I see two guys, and they had their hard hats on. I'm like, oh, come over, we have food for you. And he goes, is this Duggan? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, we're not part of Duggan. And I was like, oh, he goes, we wish we were though. And I said, well, here, take some food, do something. Now I feel terrible. He's like, other people at job sites will say other companies do not do this at all. So it's just a different way of, the way that he is just the way that he is. And it's how I feel, and it's how all the leadership team feels. And it just trickles down to everyone.
Their website is very unique, and I encourage you to take a look. As you see here, it has a different look, and see how they feature their people. including women and veterans. I asked Laura about the impact of this.
I think a lot of them are surprised that we're doing it, but they're grateful and they're happy and they feel, I think it just makes them feel vested and they feel like, wow, this really is not, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk, he does it. And you can see that on every level because it trickles down. The foremen do the same thing for their guys and the girls in the field. And then the guys and the girls in the field do the same thing for the apprentices. So when you have a leadership that really does believe in their people, I firmly believe that that just keeps on trickling down to everyone. So we actively really try, and we want everyone just to be happy. We are a company that believes everyone belongs.
So if you sum it all up, a happy workplace is a successful workplace, and that would be Duggan.
I think so. I think that a happy workplace leads to success, and it makes, I mean, when you feel valued, just in general, when you feel valued as a person, then you want to give back. It's just human nature.
Wow. I mean, wow. I am continually amazed and inspired by firms like Duggan, and I hope you are too. They are fifth generation. So when people ask, is being a top place to work worth it? Well, is a positive culture a difference maker in business? All I really have to do is point to EM Duggan. Thanks for watching Tips from the Top. Now, don't forget to subscribe so you see the next top company coming in a few weeks. Remember, nothing builds itself, and people are your best profit strategy. I'm Wally Adamchik, and I look forward to seeing you next time.